Hello, everyone. Welcome to 70s Daydreams. Today we have something a little bit different for you. Now, as you all know, we normally cover 1970s animation, but we are also just like big fans of animation in general. And we recently went to an animation festival, and we wanted to just like spotlight that and showcase our experience and showcase a lot of the really talented and skilled artists who are a part of that. And yes, so this one was called the Transfiguration Animation Film Festival, and it's actually an international festival that like travels around, and it came to Baltimore. And there were multiple blocks. We weren't able to make it to all of the screenings, but I made it to one screening, and then Alder and I made it to the Baltimore screening. So it was the screening of all Baltimore animators. And yeah, we just want to talk a little bit about it and just like sort of share the animation is alive and well, and the community is growing, and it's very fecund. And yeah, we're really excited to have a little bit of an aside type of episode and talk about some current things.
Yeah, and shout out to the organizers because they put on a really great event. Like they gave us food, like hot, nice, good food, and there was like popcorn and stuff too. So there was like sliding scale tickets. Like it was a really nice event.
Yes, it was hosted at 2640 Space, which is an historic church venue that has been around for quite a while. I've been going to this venue since I think I was like 19. They have all sorts of concerts. I was in a wedding there. I saw Beach House there. This is a very important venue, and
it's so quintessential Baltimore too. Like I was like, oh yeah, this is it.
It's kind of like the definition of elegant decay. You know?
Yeah, that's really good.
Because you can see a lot of the walls, kind of like
like the bricks behind like the plaster and the lathe coming out and stuff.
Yes. So it was a lovely venue to host an animation festival. So I guess I can talk a little bit about the first block that I went to. The one I went to, it was actually a bit more found footage focused, I guess. So this festival really focuses a lot more on like experimental animation. And there were narrative pieces, but for the slot that I went to, I believe it was block
2.
Yeah, block 2. Yeah, they had a lot of found footage type of work, and then they like put some filters on it, and there was some like traditional animation that was included. One of the standouts of that one was by Dustin Wong. Dustin Wong is a local guitarist. He's been active for quite a while. He does looping, and he creates these really beguiling orchestral textures with his electric guitar by like looping and using a lot of effects pedals. And I don't think this work was a newer work. It was dated from 2012, but it was this sort of like experimental. It was like a 40-minute just like exercise in it. I don't know, it just went in all these different directions visually. It was really expansive, and it was all scored by him. And it was interesting because a lot of the images matched what the music was doing, and sometimes like rhythmically the same way. But yeah, there it was like syncing a lot of like the images to the music. And yeah, they had this line dividers on the street kind of syncing to the guitars at the same time. And then there was like stoplights flashing and a lot of really interesting cosmic work. And I thought that was really unique.
And so I'm looking on the website. That one was called Infinite Love, I believe.
Yes.
From 2012.
And I didn't know it was from 2012 until afterwards, because I remember watching and I was like, oh my God, this is so nostalgic. Like, this is so Baltimore, like circa 2011 or whatever. And then I saw that it was
Wow.
yeah.
I'll have to see that one.
So yeah.
Was there dialogue in it? You said it was 40 minutes.
No, it was
So just music.
just music.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. But it really captured my attention. And I usually tend to be more of a narrative girly, but I was like really invested. I really found myself to be like, it kind of renewed some of my interest in experimental film. And it had this like earnestness of like a young artist, really, I don't know, it almost felt like this like thesis project or something. It was really cool. So let's move on to the Baltimore block. So this is the one we went to last night. This one had more like traditional animation, and it had stop motion animation, computer animation. And I just want to say it was fantastic. It was beautifully curated. I loved it all.
Yeah, and I loved it too. It was mostly shorts too. A lot of the stuff is like 5 minutes or under. I think the longest one was 12 minutes, and there were 14 total. And then there were a few artists who even had a couple or at least one artist. So it was Mary Beth Chu had 2 pieces in there too, which was kind of neat to see a single artist have different iterations of their work. And I believe that Mary Beth said that they've been doing art for a really long time, painting for a really long time.
Yeah, primarily a painter.
Yeah, but they're new to animation. So that was really cool too, to see like a long-term artist, working in a new medium. That's exciting.
That was another thing I liked about this festival, is that it seemed to bring seasoned voices as well as new voices as well, or everyone in between. It felt like it wasn't exclusive. It felt like anyone who was creating work that was unique, or they were trying something, or expressing something, everyone had like a say. It felt like that was the energy I was getting. And it was just so cool because like there was this, was it Lynn Tomlinson?
Yes. Yeah.
She says she's been animating since like 88 or 89.
Wow.
And then to see the other animator who's been just doing this for a little over a year, but like seeing how, it doesn't matter. What matters is like that you're driven, that you have something to say, and you're willing to put in that love.
Yeah, I found myself very inspired after this, like just thinking about like what's possible and how like poetry connects to animation. And so many of these shorts, I was like, this is basically a poem. Like it's really amazing to, because they would have lyrics or words that would come up too. And I'm just really obsessed with words in any kind of media, and how you can use words in really interesting ways. Like the very first short was called Misunderstanding, and that's MISS understanding. And they were like drawing out the O's, and like it would be like own or keep. I sounded really Baltimore when I said own, but like it was like the E's would go keep, and I that really like tickled my fancy. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. So, what were some other shorts that stood out to you? Let's.
Oh, sure. I mean, like the Ballad of Holland Island House was by far my favorite. It was very like Chesapeake Bay themed, and climate change and nature, and it was oil paints, I believe, on glass is how it was made, which I didn't even know that you could do that. Like that's so wild and interesting to me. So that's the Lynn Tomlinson piece, and I believe that one won quite a few awards. So it made me cry, like really cry. So I was like, it's so moving. And to do that also in like 4 minutes and 20 seconds, like to just like bring someone to tears, that's so powerful. So that one's basically told through the point of view of a house that is on an island in the Chesapeake Bay that's basically being taken over by water and like and sinking into the sea. And I really love to messing with POV in poems. And so I also like that in different other forms of media, animating things that aren't typically human and that sort of thing.
That one, I was wondering if it was Smith Island.
Yeah.
Because that house looks a lot like there's this like iconic house on Smith Island that I immediately thought of. It could also be there's a few other islands that are facing a lot of like rising tide issues, like Tangiers and such. And there's this film that I've yet to see, which I need to see. It's about Van Gogh, and I believe it's all paintings.
I
like
know
it's
what one you're talking about.
yeah. And so when I first saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, yeah. It was, and this is the one. This had singing, like
Yes.
yeah. So it was all narrated through song, and I believe it was two vocalists because they were like harmonizing, and it almost had this kind of like Celtic kind of vibe, or some type of traditional
folk
type,
type,
yeah. I can't quite put my finger on it, but like the way there were like these repeating melodies, and it was really just beguiling. And and the thing is like climate change is so depressing, but to be able to tell a story while also showcasing the beauty of like the story of the land, of the water, like it felt like it was, I don't know, like there was something about it. Like I was thinking a lot about like the watermen out in the Chesapeake Bay and like the crabbers and like a lot of, because it goes into a little bit of like the history of,
and I loved how it connected the house to the land, like saying I was trees before I was this, and then I became beams that were taken to this island, and there's the interconnectedness of us all, and how those things, and then it gets taken back by the water. And the animation in that one, when the water kind of comes up to the house, because it's the oil on the glass, like it's like in something I've never seen before, like the way that it was moving in the water, and it was so real but so abstract at the same time. It's just very beautiful.
That's what I love about animation, is because you can depict reality in such abstract ways. So that one was the main highlight, I would say, for you.
For me,
least.
yeah. How about you? What
I mean, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Yes.
yes, a definitive yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now to go with one that is a very different, Poopolina.
Oh, Poopolina, yeah.
Yeah, this like it was kind of like a quirky, kind of almost like indie sensibility.
Mm-hmm.
It was very more stripped, scratchy drawing, and it was about this cat that likes to dress up when their owner leaves. And the cat dressed up in a bikini and put on lipstick, and I don't know if it was supposed to be some type of like drag thing, or because we didn't know the gender of the cat, so I don't know if maybe the cat was just, but then when the owner came back, the cat like ran and like took everything off, and then the owner's like, what's my bikini doing on the ground? And so that was really funny. But then the owner brought a little kitty,
Baby brother,
baby brother, like, here's your baby brother. The cat is sort of, like this town ain't big enough for the both of us type of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, this is my territory. And I guess they were upset that maybe they wouldn't be able to dress up when their owner is away. So when the owner leaves, the cat Poopolina takes I'm not sure if there's a term for this, but it's like a giant, like thick baseball bat with like nails in it, and kills the baby, just like smashes it. And like there was an audible like gasp in the audience, and everyone was like, oh my God, like we were not expecting it to go there. And then it just ends.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like some like dark comedy. It was really But it was really well executed, and like it was a very short piece, but there was something about it that like it had this, I don't know, it had a really nice attitude about it.
Yeah, definitely like a staying quality with that one. And if you're interested in any of these, I'm just saying the names and stuff so that people can look them up, because a lot of these were available when I looked them up. I didn't do all of them, but definitely the Ballad of Holland Island House is on YouTube. I sent that one to my sister. I was like, you got to see this one. So, but yeah, Pupalina, and then that's by Erica Kim, and it is 1 minute and 25 seconds.
Just like a little detail that I really liked about it. When the credits were playing for that one, it was like this like 2000s, almost like Disney rock. Like it was like a Hillary Duff-esque type of song playing. And it was just very, very brief because like obviously the credits weren't very long. But like for some reason, it just was so perfect because like you have this like really kind of like dark comedy thing, but with like this like cute sort of doodle of a cat. And then like this really kind of happy kind of like pop rock from the 2000s. Speaking of pop rock, the Baltimore Rock Opera Society, and if you all don't know, we have a strong rock opera community here in Baltimore, and the Baltimore Rock Opera Society puts on one to several rock operas per year, and y'all should check it if you're ever in Baltimore or if you live here. And they had a film in this festival because during COVID, there was, it was lockdown, so they weren't able to put any like live performances on. So they ended up putting together a stop motion short, and that featured music and lyrics and everything. And I thought it was really fun. The music had a really kind of 2000s pop rock, but like also like a little bit of a music theater element because it's telling a story.
Mm-hmm. And this one was called The Feast.
Yeah, it was all about consumption, and it was about this village of people who they really valued eating as much as you can.
And being biggest is the best is what they said. Whoever eats the most rules the rest.
And like when they would eat, like they would literally like grow and become taller. And at first I thought it was like some type of like critique of like consumerism or something. But then it kind of like got turned on its head in this weird way when this, or maybe not, maybe it came back to bite them, but this outsider comes in and then starts to eat them. And it was very, it kind of turned into like a horror film for a bit. And then they had to like flee. And so it had this like strange, almost like Midsummer in a weird way, because they were this like little village, and then like all this crazy stuff happens.
And the whole story is told really through a grandmother who's telling, like, I'm guessing grandkids.
Like a flashback of like what
saying
happened.
This is how, we are and this is what happened. And then there's a little surprise at the end that we won't spoil for you.
But yeah, it was really a very involved work. Like it kind of reminded me of like, I guess maybe a little bit of like Nightmare Before Christmas and some.
Did we mention it's stop motion?
Yeah, it's stop motion, and it was very, very, very detailed, and the work was incredibly professionally done.
Yeah, huge team too, because when the credits were rolling after like each little film, it was usually like music by, animation by, and this one was like pages and pages and pages of people who worked on this. So it was like a huge community effort, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I just really like the tunes. I love
great music. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, and then another one. There was a film that had rotoscoped images of Gene Wilder, and it looked like it might have come from a movie, Frankenstein, that he was in.
So I believe that one was I Am Not Your Monster by Karen Yazinski, and that one was 5 minutes.
Yes, so I had seen this one prior at the Sweaty Eyeballs Animation Festival, also in Baltimore, and Yeah, these were all like rotoscoped sketches of. I'm assuming one film, but I'm not sure if it was multiple. It was really interesting because it. I don't know if it had like it would seem kind of like just like these little vignettes, and it had like the dialogue of Gene Wilder, and they were. It was kind of like removed from the original context, but it was so. I don't know. It was just like this small. It was just like moments of this film, or wherever the source was from, and it had this like really still life quality.
Yeah, with that one too, I really liked in the very beginning they had like a caged wolf, and it was kind of like it was like so the whole like aesthetic of it is was almost like pencil drawings or like charcoal, and there was like a caged wolf, and there were like lines that were going from top to bottom for the cage, like bars, but they were just, it was just empty space. So it was like you could see this like pacing wolf, like kind of going back, or maybe dog.
Oh yes, that remind because what they did is since it was rotoscoped from live action, when you do that, you can choose what you draw and what you don't draw.
What's the negative space? Like,
Yeah, so
yeah.
the negative space was so unique and creative because like they didn't really draw any of the backgrounds. They only drew the characters like that were moving. So when there was someone on a horse and the legs like I think there was like that fence you were talking about, and you would see the horse's legs kind of like disappear into white, and I thought that was because like when you watch something and you see something disappear behind an object, you know that like you understand that physically. But when it's negative space, it kind of like plays a weird trick on your eye, and you're like, oh wait, what happened, where'd it go? So I thought that was a really lovely touch. And then my favorite part of that film was the very end, where I don't know if it was Lady Frankenstein. It kind of seemed. I haven't seen this film. I'm just assuming that it was from this, but the main woman character, she has this kind of like plaintive look on her face, and she just like lies down, and then she kind of becomes like silhouetted, and then it kind of becomes like a negative for half a second, and then there's this like pedal steel guitar music that just kind of cascades in, and it's so like I don't know. There was something about it. It gave me
Yeah,
goosebumps.
I thought that part was really striking too. And it like kind of reminded me of like if you were in like a cave on the beach and you like laid down on the sand and you looked up at the sky and you like saw the cave. Like, I don't know why my mind went there, but
I
it was,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing when like a piece of art can like make you feel like an experience that you've felt.
Yeah.
Because like she wasn't like happy, but she wasn't sad. She was just like tranquil and like yeah, and it kind of looked like her hair was going into that Frankensteinish like afro thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then yeah, and then like there was another shot right before that where there was this man just sort of gazing softly in the distance. It looked a little bit like John Wayne. I'm not sure who it was, but like what I loved about the rotoscoping though is that even when the characters weren't moving a lot, the lines on their faces were moving. So like they could just be slowly like moving or like smiling, and there's like all of this like movement, like sort of like when you have like is it an infrared camera, and you see all of this like sort of not like shimmering kind of color that is emanating from us that we don't even like think about. So it's kind of like that, but if it were a line drawing or like a sketch. And let's see. There was another interesting stop motion one. There was a few stop motion ones. Yeah, they ran the gambit. Some of the works were very kind of like cute and fun. Some were more like dark and almost like body horror. Some of them, like there was this one. It was like these eggs, and they were hatching, and like they had these like really long tongues, like kind of like these like snail like things, and like it was interesting. There was this one part where they like knock over like was it Uncle Ben's rice?
Yeah.
And then it spills out, and I just can't. I just wonder how you animate like things spilling. Like I was like,
that one made me think too. So that one was called, forgive me if I'm not saying this right, but Pinoy/Ploy. So Pinoy/Ploy, and it's by Stephanie Williams. And that one also had like Aunt Jemima's syrup.
Yes.
And at one point, I think the syrup dripped, but it dripped in real time. But the rest of it was, and I really liked like the juxtaposition of those two things. And yeah, I was thinking about that too with the rice. Like how do you do this stop animation? Like how do you make that happen?
That one had a lot of like unique camera tricks because like
and lighting too.
The lighting. Mm-hmm. So there are these like angels, these really gorgeous like angel figurines that featured prominently in it. And sometimes like there were ones in like the foreground and some in the background, and like the ones in the foreground were like out of focus, so you could see the ones further back. And that's just like something that at least I sometimes forget a lot with animation, because if you're drawing, you know, you can make everything in focus, you know, like if you want. But I guess with stop motion, you still can make everything in focus, but you can make more decisions. And it just got me thinking of like, oh yeah, just because you can make everything in focus doesn't mean you should. Mm-hmm. And there was something really beautiful about that. And like seeing the things in the back being animated while the things in the front were still, but like out of focus. And it kind of like makes you aware of the camera in a way, whereas like when you're traditionally watching something with a lot of movement, you forget about the camera. So it was almost like, yeah, at least for me, it brought me an awareness.
Yeah, that one was so layered because it had like really deeply uncomfortable music that was almost like this like moaning, like scary moaning. And then there were lots of like black cut scenes too, where it would like fade to black and then it would kind of come back, and then you weren't really sure where you were in like space time, or like who, like the angels versus these like duck snail type creatures that hatched out of the egg. And it was really like kind of topsy-turvy in that way, I felt.
It reminded me a little bit of Scenes with Beans.
Yes, that's exactly the one that I thought of too. Yeah.
We covered Scenes with Beans a few episodes ago, and like the lighting in that one is like very I don't even know what the word would be. Like I want to say vibrant, but like harsh as well.
Yeah. Like spotlight type. Maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, this one reminded us a little bit of that.
Scenes with Beans.
Yeah, check out Scenes with Beans. That's also on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. In one of our episodes, yeah. Yeah, so the other stop motion that I wanted to talk about was Won't He Do It? And that one was by Sanaa Brown Bowers, 4 minutes and 18 seconds. And that one was like a music video kind of, and it was like spinning around on a record, and it was like, won't he do, won't he do? And like, that song was so stuck in my head for like many animations after it. It was still like going, like that record was like spinning in my head. I really liked what they did with hair in that one, like and the facial expressions on like the figures and that sort of thing, and the dancing and stuff. That was really wild. I like that one.
That one was really important to me because like it was like it was like about the Black church, and it featured like majority Black cast of like the characters, and they were like, won't he do it is something that we say in church, like meaning God, like sort of like, oh, he'll make a way, like won't he do it, like won't God do it? And it was nice seeing, like I grew up in the church, and so like I know a lot of those things, and it was just really nice to see Black culture represented on screen, especially in like animation and especially stop motion.
Yeah, and
Because
it was so rhythmically rich too with the stop motion. Like they were really matching up and stuff too. It was great.
yeah, but yeah, that was special because like I feel like we aren't as like Black folks, we aren't as represented in animation and or stop motion, especially stop motion. So that was really special. One thing I really liked about it is sometimes with like experimental art, sometimes there's this austerity that is sort of almost like some people almost like intrinsically or think that they have to, that's how they have to be. And I think some of y'all might know what I'm talking about, but like these very kind of like very serious or overly
Analytical
analytical or brutal or depressive, or these really kind of like
trauma porn type
yeah,
stuff.
or just like very slow and not much happening because it's supposed to like be deep or something. And no shade, like sometimes that can work, but it was nice to see animation that was like jubilant and not
Yeah.
being like trying to do some type of like existential, like
Yeah, it was like so lively and so alive and like just like really rich and vibrant.
yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I am drawn to animation, because I think that because it's an art form that like you are creating literally from scratch, like the images, you have to, I don't know, you have to put a certain life into it that I just sometimes find that it doesn't always exist in IRL film sometimes, because I don't know, there's sometimes you're just able to express, there's just like a lot, like a liveliness, which sounds like a counter, like why would something that is not real, that's like drawn, not alive, be
but it's like
lively?
you have to like cast that spell upon it. So then there's
Yeah,
like,
because it's magic.
yeah.
Whereas sometimes I think people can get a bit comfortable, or no, like in just doing the same thing with IRL media, and just sort of like, oh, I'm just gonna brood some more and then they'll get it. So yeah, are there any other ones that really spoke to you?
I just wanted to shout out to the Do You Remember the Sun on the Green Horizon? And that one was 3 minutes and 44 seconds. Again, I really hope I'm saying this right, but Layli Arai Tavali. And that one was like a crying voice, and there were like cows and line drawings and
Oh yeah, that one
cars
was
and brand
lovely.
logos and like church bells, and that like created such an atmosphere and environment. Like that was when I was like, oh, and please don't be over yet, like what is this saying, like but it was also like it made me feel so much, like even the title of it, Do You Remember the Sun on the Green Horizon? And it was like a conversation with land, I felt like, and with like commodity. And I really wanted to watch that one again, and I tried to find it, but it may be available, but I didn't like dig far enough, because we did just see this last night.
Yeah.
And we're kind of in a time crunch to record this one. So we had to record it today, and I would have liked to do a little bit more research, but I really liked that artist.
But yeah, just in general, like this festival really just, it inspired me. It got me more interested in experimental and abstract animation in a way that I haven't been before. And it just was there's so many different types of people, different ages. It was very queer,
Very, yeah.
very neurodivergent. Like, I just feel like animation is a community that can really just, it attracts some of the most creative and unique people, and it was just lovely to be around that. And just, I mean, I was surprised it wasn't sold out. You know, there weren't. I mean, there was like maybe like 50 or so people.
Yeah, there weren't that many empty seats though.
Yeah.
And then this was only one block of 4. I don't know what the second block was like when you went to that one, but
And they've been doing this for, I believe, 3 years.
yeah, from their website, it looks like 2023, 24, and 25 is how long they've been existing. And I think this kind of wraps it up. By the time this episode comes out, probably they'll all be done. But I think the last one, there's one more maybe in New York and then one in Singapore. And then it's done for the year.
I'm just so honored that they chose to come to Baltimore to show the work, you know, like, and I think it makes sense. I think there's a really strong, vibrant animation scene here that people might not necessarily know about.
And art scene in general.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah. And I think that the organizers were also saying basically that they kind of had to really like fight for it to be in Baltimore. So like, just again, thank you to them for putting this on. This was amazing.
Yeah, just like all out of love. Like when they were talking about it, they were just like, thank you all. Like we just love animation and you all love it and we just want it. So yeah, I can keep going. I can keep waxing poetic, but yeah, this was it's just so special. And I'm just, yeah.
Yeah, what a treat. And we wanted to make a treat episode for all of y'all because we got to experience that. And so hopefully you go out and like watch some of these shorts and enjoy them like we did.
Yeah, get involved in your local animation scene.
Totally.
All right. That's our special episode, and thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.